Sadly, this Mazda has had some gaping rust holes, especially on the rear arch lines and on the rocker panels. Luckily, we already fixed it in the last couple of videos. And in this video, you and me are going to finish welding, put on some Bondo and paint this Mazda. But while painting, we've made some huge mistakes, but more to that later. So in this video I want to finish this car. At first I'm going to begin with fully welding the rocker panels. Since you and me tack welded both sills and the rear arch panel, we need to weld the whole scene. This is going to take us a while. Take a look here. Yeah, of course we need to finish welding here in the middle, but these two arms are in the way for that. We are almost finished on this side and I'm really glad. Right now my next step is to make this panel look a little bit nicer and just tack weld it a little bit more and then fully weld it in so that this thing here is also finished. Here we need to cut a line since both panels overlapped and then weld it. One finished panel, almost 99%. So let's do it on the other side too. My next step is to drill some holes here and fully spot weld on the bottom here. And here we are trimming the excess material and then drilling some new holes. And well, of course, we need to plug weld them. Well, finally the rocker panels are fully on. So the next step is to fully weld this panel on here. This panel in the front isn't really beautiful, but hey, at least it's not rusty. We are almost done with welding and I'm really happy. The next step is to fully weld this section here and then we have to do some stuff I don't want to do because it's pretty hard and time consuming. So let's start with this. Take a look at this here, it looks pretty good. You know, just grinding down every single bit of weld and it is done. And I'm so happy. Well, we still have so many tasks ahead of us. And to be honest, I've been struggling to get motivated to tackle them. If I don't push through this car will never be finished. Well, let's just move on and address the section I've been fearing the most. So the next step is to finish this section here. We need to build on a lip here. And I don't actually know how to do it right now, but I will figure something out. So therefore we are going to remove the wheel in the back. Then we trim the excess material. So right now I'm trying to trace down the curvature of this arch panel. I just want to have a template for the other side. And now I'm marking the excess. Let's fabricate the lip. Therefore we're bending an edge, but we're doing this before cutting the metal to size to be able to bend it properly. The last step is to make some relief cuts, so we are able to bend it. To be honest, this looks good. Can you see this gap here? We need to hammer it so that there's no gap anymore. I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to grind down in here and then just tack weld it to the other section. Yeah, so let's remove the underseal. And we've got even to play with fire. And now we are welding it. So now we need to remove the excess material. And I've welded it off cam. So I need to remove the wheel and then plug weld every spot here. Then this section is finished. Okay, yeah, I have to do something like here. But then this section is finished. And yet again, remove the wheel. So you remember the holes in the arch line? Now we are plug welding it. And well, I have to confess something. In the process of that, I've just maybe made a dent in it. So I've spent probably 15 to 20 minutes with removing this dent. All the welding on this side is now finished and I'm pretty happy. So the next step is to fully grind down all of the seams here. I guess grinding again. We are trying to make these welds as seamless as possible. This process took me ages, but I think it's totally worth it. Do you agree? We are finally finished with welding and grinding. The next step is to grind even more. The thing is, I just want to scuff up these surfaces a little bit so that the filler sticks to it. When the surface isn't as smooth as a mirror, the Bondo has some ridges where it can stick to. And we're done. So the next step is to make sure that these rocker panels won't ever rust again. So therefore we have some cable grease here. So the plan now is to use these holes we have here, put in this nozzle and just spray till it comes out everywhere. The cable grease is necessary to protect the inside from rust. And hopefully these panels won't rust again anytime soon. You and me, we need to clean these panels. And then we can put on some body filler. Yesterday we finished with all the filler and we've put everything on. So at first I think I'm going to grind down all the filler. For the first round I'm just using the roughest sandpaper I have. Well, I've lasted 5 minutes sanding with a sanding block. And then I decided to use a machine for that. But this machine also didn't want to do this job. So I had to buy a new tool. Here. So basically these pads don't stick to the tool anymore. Do you know the feeling when you just bought a new tool and you're trying it out for the first time? You know, I just felt like a kid again. This is pretty good. Oh my. But well, after sanding for 10 minutes, I felt bored again. I don't know how you feel about this job, but I don't really like body work. In my opinion, it's just a tedious work and you just need so much time for it. And right now, I don't have even time for that. So, the next step is to clean all the surfaces and then Bondo right onto it. The body filler isn't thick enough yet, so I have to do the dreaded job again. But here I am, trying my best to make this car look decent. And if you like seeing cars rescued from the junkyard, subscribe. Because my channel is all about getting cars on the road again. Well, and here you can see me sanding for 5 hours straight. We need to be careful not to remove too much material, otherwise we'll have to do it all over again. Take a look at that here. This looks pretty good. And also on the bottom here, it also looks pretty good. I need to grind down all the edges here, and the next step is to put on some thinner Bondo. Well, and here, just to remove some small holes or pittings in the Bondo, I'm putting a thinner body filler onto the Bondo. And sanding again. As soon as I finished with sanding, I needed to remove the interior of the car. And the next step is to delete this hole here. These here are some leftovers, and I think this here fits perfectly on here. Well, this car has rust all over the place. But yeah, that's why we're here. I'm just tack welding the new metal onto it and then cut out the old material. By doing that, I make sure that it fits snugly. And to be honest, this was my fastest welding job ever. I think this panel took me about half an hour.
and I've never been so fast.
This looks pretty good. I just need to grind it down a little bit. Actually, I'm done grinding it down. I'm just removing the residue on here and then cover it up.
I don't know how you think about it, but I think it looks decent. And we found another hole right in the frame rail. So I decided to use a 2mm thick steel plate, cutting out the old metal and welding the new one in. And when we are putting on some underseal, nobody will ever see this again.
The next step is to fully cover up all the inside with some plastic so that we can paint the car afterwards.
Yeah, so masking the car, I don't really like it. But you know, it's necessary. I don't want to spray paint the inside of the car. I don't think my girlfriend would be happy if her interior suddenly turned blue. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned it yet. My girlfriend drives this car, so wish me luck that nothing goes wrong. And by now, I think you know the drill. Cleaning everywhere where the paint's gotta go on. Then we're going to prime everything. And the blue paint. But here I made a mistake, a pretty dumb mistake actually. The plan was to paint the rocker and quarter panels blue. For the underside of the rocker, I just wanted to use some black stone chip protection.
Well, I got it done yesterday, but the color, unfortunately, is pretty much different. My new game plan is recolor everything with this color.
I mean, who wants to drive a car with mismatched colors? It's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's remove the old new paint. Please trust me, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I just want to make it as perfect as I can.
Not only that I've used the wrong color, also dust was in the paint. So hopefully I've learned out of this dumb mistake and never paint outside and also never paint in the wrong color again.
Well, I have ground down everything and I'm just going to use a finer grid of sandpaper and then I'm going to paint it.
So this took me another whole day to remove all of the paint and repaint the car. And hopefully you've learned out of my mistake too. Just don't be as dumb as I am.
While the paint is drying, I'm trying to fix the fender. This looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to weld it on and then call it a day.
Well, this is a big win after my motivational valley. So, you and I are grinding all the welds to make them seamless. Then we're using the old rusty panel as a template to match the shape. Now we are cutting away all the excess. And then we need to drill some holes for the bolts. And after that we are removing all the welding leftovers and scuffing up the surface for the Bondo. But in order to be able to put on some Bondo, we need to clean first. Yeah, and now we're ready for the sticky stuff. Making it all nice and level by sanding it. And after cleaning, we are finally able to put on some paint. We are done with this fender, finally. And I'm proud to announce that this was the last welding, Bondo and sanding job on this car. For now at least. Back to the car paint. Well, I just hope it looks good now and the color matches up.
Sadly, while painting this car, I didn't have enough clear coat, so I've bought a new bottle and we're going to spray on some clear coat.
While putting on the clear coat, I just hope that the color matches up. And since the paint was drying overnight, I've of course cleaned it before putting on the clear coat. Well, but does it match up?
This is 100% the same color. Yeah! It worked! I'm actually pretty proud that I've just grinded everything, the whole paint from before off and did it once more.
So, it is time. Let's remove all of the masking tape.
The last step we have to do is to mask up this section here so that we can paint black here.
Well, so let's clean it and put on the stone protection. Well, the car finally has some color, but there is still a lot to do. We need to put on some underseal and assemble the whole car again. We have to bring this car on the lift again, and therefore I need to drive outside and drive in the garage again. But before we are able to do that, we need to install the interior first. Then I'm installing the seat belt again. Put on some more trims. And now we are installing the seat finally. Therefore we need to put in 2 bolts at the front and 2 bolts at the back of the seat. And then of course covers for the bolts. The last step is to install the rear seat again. And we are finished.
Well, it is time. We are going to start this car and drive it out for the first time in about 2 months. Let's hope this car even starts.
And I'm actually pretty nervous. You know, I have unplugged the ECU before welding, so I hope I haven't damaged something.
Oh, it's waking up. Ah! Oh my gosh! This car!
Oh my gosh, I'm so relieved this car works.
I don't even see a thing out of here. It's that dusty.
The first thing we have to do is to drill some holes where the fender is going to pull up to. Well, I know it isn't really beautiful, but we need to make sure that no water is going to get in there. So therefore I'm sealing it up. And now let's install both fenders. This thing is starting to look like a car again. And now we're putting in the blinker. Let's install the rear bumper. And also the rear lights. And the car looks assembled again from the back. And now we're going to put on some underseal. Well, but the thing is, we didn't have any brushes, so therefore we needed to use our hands with some hand shoes on. Yeah, it was messy, but you know, it works. But the big question is, did we manage to get this car on the road again on time? I can proudly announce that this car is finally ready to go on the road again. But the next patient is already waiting on us. So stay tuned for the next episode where I hopefully fix the most annoying thing on my BMW E46 that I couldn't repair in 3 years.